Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Live from New York, it is the Coffee Club live on Friday night. Happy Valentine's Day to everybody. Happy Valentine's Day to my wife. This is Felix, and my co-host is
Dr. Mark. And what about me? I don't get a happy Valentine's Day?
And happy Valentine's Day to you,
and
too.
And to you as well as my wife, who I know is not listening.
It doesn't matter. It's the thought that counts. And just in case they do listen, we don't get into trouble.
And also, try to remember this. Think of this, ladies and gentlemen. What a dull life you must be living if you have to listen to us on Valentine's Day evening.
Why? This is probably the most exciting time for most of our listeners.
Well, I figured the most exciting time for them would be when they go to sleep.
Well, this puts them to sleep.
That's true. So anyway.
My wife always says, she always watches the Golden Girls.
So did my mother. And my son.
And they're on like 24 hours a day practically. And especially at night, she watches them. She says it makes her feel comfortable and she can go to sleep easier.
You mean we make people feel comfortable?
I think we just put them to sleep.
Wait, if you listen closely, I think you can hear some snoring.
Yeah. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, before I forget, you can reach us at 646-595-3275. That's 646-595-3275. And the topic for tonight is God, Mother Nature, global warming. Who's causing this lousy weather? Anybody have any ideas? What's causing it? Who's causing it? Why is it this bad? Is it a normal cycle of weather? Is it because of the ozone layer and the global warming? Or is God just pissed off at us?
Well, lately it seems like God is always pissed off at us.
Well, what do you think, ladies and gentlemen? You know, it's a wonder, you know. At what point do you start blaming God? At what point do you start just blaming Mother Nature? That's just part of life, this weather, or maybe because of global warming.
Yeah, but Felix, when you think about it, as I've said to so many people, this reminds me of the winters that we used to have when we were kids. The temperature was always in the teens, 20 degrees. 32 was warm already. And we used to get snow upon snow. I don't know. Then we were spoiled by many mild winters. You know, we used to see headlines in the paper that the oil companies were starving. You know, because
God forbid.
Really. I mean, this simply reminds me of when I was a kid.
Well, you know, I do remember a lot of snow. I don't remember temperatures like at 5 degrees, 10 degrees. That I don't remember.
Well, you didn't have it in Israel.
Oh, that's true.
You came here when you were what, 8?
No, I just turned
8
9.
or 9.
Just turned 9 years old.
At 9 or 10, you would still remember, you know.
Well, I remember the bad winter was around 67, 66, 67. That was a really bad winter. Other than that, I don't know. There haven't been that many memorable winters. But also, you got to. We're not just talking about the winter. We're talking about Sandy and tremendous amount of tornadoes that were happening, and Georgia for the second year is getting ice storms and stuff. This is all a pattern that we're not used to, and like I said, maybe just part of how weather cycles. I don't know. I'm not an expert on that. But I'll talk about it.
Maybe people start believing it when Florida starts to get snow. Although I think it wasn't too long ago that the citrus crop was frozen over on the vine.
Yeah. It did happen. It got very cold. And I mean, again, this is... None of this weather is actually something that's never happened before. The tornadoes, I think, seem to be a lot more than usual. The snow is a lot more than has been in the past 20 years or so, but it has happened before. Storm like Sandy hasn't happened.
And they called that the storm of the century. Basically, that's what they called it, the storm of the century.
Yeah, I think the other one before that was 1939.
You know, don't forget also that before Al Gore named it, we never believed in global warming. Nobody had ever heard of it. Although I did see a cartoon today, since it's Valentine's Day, that Al Gore invented Valentine's Day. That's what he said. I discovered Valentine's Day.
Al Gore.
Yeah.
I don't get that one.
Because he keeps saying he discovered the internet.
Oh yeah. Okay. Who discovered the internet? Al Gore. What do you mean who?
Mark Zuckerberg.
I don't know. It wasn't him either.
Yeah, you don't hear much about the Facebook stock anymore, do you?
I don't know how it's doing. I haven't been following it.
I don't own anything, so I know my sister's boss bought some when it opened, and he waited until it went up, and then he sold it because he said this is not going to be a long-term stock. What do I know?
Well, who knows? You know, it's...
You got to have money to invest. I'm lucky if I have money to pay for the cup of coffee that we drink.
Yeah, exactly. You know, we make our coffee using Keurig. And when you start adding up...
No commercials. What is this?
Hey, when you start...
when they start sending you free coffee, you can mention their name.
We use these pods.
Okay.
Very expensive pods. It turns out to be like 50, 60 cents a cup of coffee to make. And if you just make your regular old pot of coffee, probably costs 50, 60 cents to make a whole pot of 8 or 10 cups. Big difference in cost. The only difference, I guess, the convenience, and it's always fresh whenever you make it.
Well, the convenience is that you can have any type of coffee you would like.
It's true. You don't have to buy 20 different kinds of cans.
Although, you know, maybe you should get one of those little, inserts. Fill it up with regular coffee and make yourself a cup of coffee. And you don't have to buy those little pods or whatever they are.
You know, you're right, but I'll tell you, we bought those at work. And they used it for one day, and then everybody stopped.
Why?
They didn't like it. It was not convenient.
Because they had to fill it up themselves?
Yeah.
Well, guess what? So take that home, and you use it.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't my product. It was somebody else bought it.
Oh. Could conveniently disappear.
I think it has already, probably, because I haven't seen it because nobody's using it. They probably took it home or something.
I bet I know who it was.
Nah.
Anyway, getting back to the topics of today. Valentine's Day. What did you do to celebrate with your special person?
Boy, you still got that cough, huh?
It's amazing. I can go all day without coughing, and as soon as I get here and you were on the air, I start coughing.
Maybe because you're allergic to the cats or something.
I never was before.
But no, I've heard you cough on the phone also, so it takes a long time to get rid of that cough after you have the cold.
It's true. I honestly believe that I'll have it until the spring.
I know I had mine for an awful long time. You should turn off your microphone when you cough.
I did.
Oh, very good.
I use my kidneys. I'm highly intelligent.
Oh, but then you should have turned it back on when you started talking again.
I did that too.
Oh, all right.
All right, folks, you know what this means. Felix and I are starting to get antsy, so we need somebody to call in. Anybody. 646-595-3275.
Anybody here from any community who wants to discuss, give their thoughts.
This is Valentine's Day. Show us your love.
Yeah. There must be somebody out there that loves us enough to call in.
Well, I know your wife is busy. She shut the door of the bedroom, and I'm sure that I left my wife upstairs with the door shut in the bedroom. So I know they're not listening to us.
I can never figure. I don't know that much about pod radio and all that, even though we've been doing it now for, 5-6 months or more?
This?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The listeners don't listen to these shows till like a week later, 3 days later. There's no rhyme or reason. And live listeners are few and far in between, actually. This is, we're live, but we don't have that many live listeners. So if you guys are listening to us on a pod, try to tune in on Fridays, Mondays, 9 p.m. Listen to us live. Call in. Ask some questions.
Yeah, if you don't go dancing Monday and Friday, why don't you give us a call?
Dancing?
Yes, I have two friends who go dancing every Friday and Monday.
And I heard, we were going to change the show to Tuesdays and Saturdays, but they said they may change the schedules of dancing to Tuesdays
They
and
may
Saturdays.
do that on purpose, exactly. Although they did say they enjoyed the show. They enjoy every show.
Well, of course. You should give them a test on it.
That might prove to be embarrassing.
To who?
Maybe to me. I mean, who says I listen?
I know. Hey, listen, we don't have to listen. We just have to talk. And hopefully the listeners are actually paying attention to what we're saying. But anyway, the weather, we're in New York, and the weather in New York, we've been having snow just about every other day, which is quite unusual. The temperatures in New York have been 10 to probably 20 degrees below normal.
Well, today was 39 degrees. I mean, that's like a heat wave.
That's almost normal. I think the normal for this time of year is normal high is 40 or 41.
Yeah.
And we were below freezing for at least, 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Or something? Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is quite unusual for us. And to me, it's just Mother Nature, just a cycle of life. I don't think it means anything at all.
Well,
But-
what do you think caused global warming? I have no idea.
What?
There's no more, atomic testing in the atmosphere. Well, what else do you think could cause global warming? I mean, I'm not a scientist. I don't know.
pollution, all the gases that come out of the when they use coal and different and oil. From you got to remember we're relatively clean country. Well, not the cleanest by any means. China, they have to wear not gas masks, but face masks.
Yeah, the surgical masks.
Surgical masks when they're outside, because that's how bad the air is there, and pollution just causes problems. Also, believe it or not, volcano eruptions do the same thing.
But I don't think we've had one of those in quite a while.
We had one a year ago in Iceland.
Oh, quite a while.
Shut down half of the flights in the world, probably.
Right, that's right.
And that causes more harm to the ozone layer than I think man could cause harm in 30 or 50 years. I forget what the actual numbers are, but like it caused so much more harm than anything we could ever do in a lifetime, probably. And if I'm wrong, and anybody hears can tell me I'm wrong, I'll be glad to hear it. I'm always my ears are always open. I'm always ready to learn something new, or at least argue about it with somebody.
I thought you were a walking encyclopedia.
I am. But what happened was...
a veritable knowledge of the mundane.
What happened was the encyclopedia got wet one day, and all the pages started tearing up, and you can't read it. It's all blurry now.
Oh, okay.
It's like...
But nobody uses an encyclopedia anymore. They use the internet.
That's true.
The thing that Al Gore invented.
That's true. Internet does actually make life a lot easier if you want to research things. You don't have to remember anything anymore. Anything you want, you look it up.
It's funny. I was reading on Facebook the old Far Rockaway Facebook page, and people would talk about junior high school, high school. I didn't go to Far Rockaway High School, but I did go to junior high school 198, and they would talk about a certain teacher who would send the students to the 42nd Street Library as one of their first assignments. I mean, who in this day, right now in high school, how many kids go to a library? They Google everything. They look for everything on the internet. I don't think anybody knows how to do research anymore, really.
No, well, you're doing it's a different type of research, put it that way. Your cough is becoming contagious. No, it's
I
research.
told you not to kiss me.
Well, it's Valentine's Day.
But not on the lips.
That was your idea.
I just moved my head when you bent to kiss me.
Ah.
Okay. Well.
Let the rumors start. And by the way, I do believe in gay marriage.
What does that have to do with anything?
Nothing. Just people kissing men and whatever. Women. I just believe in gay marriage. That's all. C'est la vie. Whatever people want to do. And being a minister, I would marry a gay couple just as much as marry an interfaith couple. Or
you would marry a dog and a cat if it was feasible.
If they paid their fee, yes.
Well, I said if it was feasible.
Yeah, that's it. If it was feasible, I would do it. No, I wouldn't marry a cat and a dog. Would you consider that interracial? What would you call that?
I don't know. But I tell you, these jokes are so corny, they wouldn't even make it in a vaudeville.
I know. We're getting desperate here. We want callers.
Felix and I have been on the air for 20 minutes, and we're running out of material.
646-595-3275.
Not that we prepare for this show.
Well, that's the whole thing. The whole idea of this show is audience interaction. And without that, we'll talk a normal 20, 30 minutes, and then we'll stop talking.
Truth be told, we put down a topic. Felix and I will start discussing the topic. If somebody calls in, and if they want to continue, that's great. If they have something else on their mind, maybe that's even better.
We don't really, it doesn't matter to us because we're here basically to serve our audience.
Yes, we are here like that Twilight Zone episode, to serve man. Remember that one?
No.
The Giants, To Serve Man was a cookbook. You don't remember?
No, okay.
Before your time.
And man was the lunch?
What?
They served man for lunch, is that it?
Well, yeah, to serve man. They were eating humans. But that's, again, neither here nor there. It's just me grasping at straws, trying to continue a conversation.
I have a novel idea, Mark.
Okay.
Next week, let's start a topic, and let's actually print something up, write something up on it. What do you think?
That's too much work.
Do a little research?
They don't pay us enough for that, do they?
I'll give you another raise. What are you worried about?
Well, okay. I mean, now you're talking. I'm going to give me a raise.
I'll give you.
How about a better title?
I'll give you a higher chair. You can sit up a little higher.
Well, give me a comfortable chair.
Comfortable chair, you'll fall asleep.
Nah, this hurts my behind.
Oh. Okay. We are grasping straws, aren't we, ladies and gentlemen?
Yeah, when you go grasping at my behind, yeah, that's really going too far.
You know what? I got to really...
Well, this was your idea for a topic, not mine.
It doesn't matter?
You're the boss.
Has anybody ever listened to what a topic is?
Well, I'll tell you, for the last 27 minutes, I bet nobody's been listening.
We never know, because even when we have live listeners, there's only one or two that ever call anyway. We know at the end of the show, not during the show, how many live listeners there are. And as I said before, a small portion of our audience actually listens live.
We may have to move our headquarters here from the studio to the closest cemetery. Maybe at least they would listen. We'd have a captive audience. They're not going anywhere.
Absolutely, and people are dying to get in there.
Yes, they certainly are. Put a speaker in every gravesite and blast away.
Yeah. This is really getting worse and worse, Mark. And that last statement, you know what? You know what it deserves?
I bet I do. Actually, I would have saved that for later. I would have gone with the other one. Yeah, that's more like it. Much more.
Yeah. We also have a very limited amount of sound effects in this show. When we first started doing this vaudeville act, or whatever you want to call it, we were actually on a semi-religious station, I guess. We didn't do anything religious on it, even though they called themselves a religious station. And we used to play a lot of music. It filled in the gaps because, we don't get commercial breaks. We don't get anything like that. So what we did was...
I'll tell you, ladies and gentlemen, if you have never taken a speech class, either in high school, as an elective, or in college, and by that I don't mean a required speech class, but where you learn the technology, the technique behind speaking, just giving speeches and talking, you never realize how long 2 minutes can be on the air when, and here we are pushing 30 minutes already. When we started this show, it was only between 30 and 45 minutes.
At the beginning, it was 30 minutes. At 30 minutes, we used to just run and shut it off. We were so happy it was over with.
That's right. We barely had enough time to make our introductions and play a few songs, and it was over.
And we enjoyed it. The songs were always good, but then we were told we don't have the rights to play the songs, and if we're going to be a talk show, it's all talk.
And they told us that as far as sound effects are concerned, or even music, we could only do it for no longer than 30 seconds.
With the music. The other thing, we don't talk about anymore, Mark, as some of you may know.
We don't talk about global warming, do we?
No, we'll talk about it in a minute. I want to talk about...
I'll hold you to that.
I want to talk about...
We got to move the needle. Wait a second. He's stuck in a groove.
Yep, I want to talk about the coffee party. As you folks may know or not know, the coffee club formed the coffee party before last year's elections, last year's elections, to get people to go out and vote.
And in New York, on Long Island, we actually got 2 votes. You and me.
That's it. So we got the coffee party out there, and we didn't promote any party. We didn't care what your beliefs were. We just said get out and vote. Because my old sermon is, we always complain, but 90% of the people who are in office go back every time. Why? Because we're afraid of change. If we're afraid of change and we don't want to make a change, then we're stuck with what we have. If you like Obama, you got Obama. If you liked John McCain, or what was that other guy that ran, the guy that was so boring that ran last time against Obama? The Mormon. The Mormon.
Mitt. Mitt Romney.
That's right, Mitt Romney. I mean, I like the guy, except he put me to sleep, just like this show does. He was...
Well, corporations are people, my friend. That's what he said. According to the Supreme Court.
Sort of, yeah. They're entities, anyway. Individual entities. I don't know if they're people, but they're definitely individual entities. That's why corporation can declare bankruptcy, just like you can. And corporations, corporations can't be put to jail. And usually all the guys that head the corporations never go to jail, no matter what crimes they commit. And they probably commit more crimes than anybody, I think. But again, as I said, the coffee party was not here to tell you how to vote.
We just want to tell you to get involved.
And vote. And now that there's no voting involved.
Yeah, speaking of voting, it seems, I don't know if you've been following the news, but the Republicans are really applying pressure to make it more difficult for people to vote, primarily Democrats, by closing voting sites in various states and requiring photo ID. The one thing that you're given, you have a God-given right to vote, and that's why it upsets me when somebody does not take advantage of that God-given right.
God-given or given by the government, but it's one of your few that it's one of the rights that you have, and it's probably one of the most important ones because that's what controls who leads our country. Right from your local politicians, whoever your local congressman is, and city councilmen, whatever they are, they're all important because they all somehow eventually affect and make change or not make change, more likely. Nobody wants to make change because they're all afraid of change. And sometimes you need change.
I change my underwear every day.
I wouldn't say every day.
How would you know?
I'm talking about me, not you.
Oh, what do? Hang it up to air out?
That's a good idea. I never thought of that.
Yeah, Bill Murray thought of that in Ghostbusters.
Yeah, I saw Bill Murray interviewed the other day. He's a very bright man.
Nobody ever said he wasn't.
Yeah, no, but you think of him as...
Well, you know why? Because he's a comedian.
Exactly, but he was very warm, congenial. Seemed like, guy next door, very nice guy.
Yeah, but you know something? This is a far cry from global warming.
Oh, that's the topic for today. Global warming, God, Mother Nature. Who's causing this mess in the United States and all over the world?
Well, the Republican right would probably say God. Because God controls Mother Nature.
Yeah.
And they don't believe in global warming.
And, of course, the left will say Mother Nature or global warming. Probably they would lean towards global warming because they believe in global warming. And people like me, I just think it's part of nature and it's just going to happen. It's a cycle and that's it. Global warming is, I don't know. The argument isn't if there's a global warming. The argument is what's causing the global warming.
Right, because that all has to do with the environment and what gases we burn and put into the air.
Yeah, which affects the ozone layer. But like I said, I believe that last volcano, as I said before, probably caused more damage and put out more pollution than we would put out in 10 or 20 years or something, they were saying.
I don't know. Somebody said that we put out a lot of pollution. You and me.
Speak for yourself. I smell like roses no matter what time of day and night it is.
I didn't say... You see, there you go again. I'm talking about verbal pollution.
Oh.
That you and I are putting out verbal pollution.
Otherwise known as our show is full of garbage.
Now you're making sense.
Garbage
but folks,
over the waves.
646-595-3275. The next time you hear that phone number, we'll be signing off.
Yeah, I know. I feel like being nasty and calling somebody. Who could I call that really would not be happy with my phone call? I'm trying to think.
No, you can't do that. You know what happened one of the last times?
I don't remember. Who do we call? Yeah.
Besides, it's Friday. He has his thing. He told us. Remember?
Yeah. I should actually call up. I should call up.
How's Dan feeling?
Dan the man.
Or Frank.
Frank.
Or Eric.
Frank was in Florida. He came back yesterday.
He's got time to go to Florida, but he can't call us up, huh?
I know. You believe that?
I don't know.
When you listen to the show on the pod, just remember that. And let's see who else. What other calls we have?
Haven't heard from Carol in Arkansas. Haven't heard from Ira in Farmingdale.
That's true. We just got a couple of new followers.
Haven't heard from the witch.
Yeah.
She said she was going to call.
Or our podcaster.
Or
Pia Savage.
I was just going to say, that's right.
We just picked up a couple of new listeners in England, but who are following us, but they probably don't.
Why don't we do what they do on real radio? call up and say that you are the 100th person we're calling, and you win whatever you want to say. Sort of like when I called up McDonald's and ordered those burgers to go for an armory in New York, and he never went to pick it up.
Yeah, that's bad. That's just
he was ostracized to Cleveland. According to him, Cleveland was the armpit of America at that time.
Now it's the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It's
very true.
There's a radio station. I think it's on 1100 a.m. It's a Long Island music station. And it goes off usually about 6, 7 in the evening. And when that goes off, a station for Cleveland is strong enough that we pick up the signal here. And it's pretty clear.
What do they play? Global warming.
They talk about global warming more than we can say about it. Do you have your phone by any chance? Let me get hold on. Give me 2 minutes. I'm going to go get my Rolodex because we're old fashioned. And let's see if I can think of somebody who I can harass.
You mean you don't have a BlackBerry?
What's a BlackBerry?
Akin to a blueberry? No,
I've had blueberries before.
What do you have, a dumb phone or a smartphone?
Actually, I've eaten blackberries before. I've eaten blueberries, strawberries.
Well, so have I. Picked them right off the vine.
Yes. So what's the big deal about eating a blackberry?
I don't know, but what about global warming?
I'm warming up. Hold on 1 second, Mark.
Hold that thought.
Hold that thought.
Yes, what can we do now?
What can we do now? What can we do now?
People have the
power.
This is your thinking music, ladies and gentlemen. So let's sit a while. Share that cup of coffee. Maybe a nice croissant with some butter. Call up that special someone who you would like to spend time with on Valentine's Day. Tell them how you really feel. Come on, you can do it. Oh, I hear the clop clop of Felix's feet. Here he is. Well, you can hear him. Boy, he could really ruin a mood, I must say.
Does anybody remember that song? Okay, let's see. We are going to call. Let's go get that phone out and let's give a call to one of our old. No, that phone is no good. We got to call. Make a call right here. We're going to call.
Who are you calling?
We're going to call. We're going to call. Hold this up for me, Mark, so I can see who we're calling.
Eric?
We're going to call Eric. How did you guess?
I just had that feeling.
Okay, let's go call Eric. His phone number's blah, 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 blah. Since we don't give out telephone numbers or last names.
Tell him what he won.
He won. What did he win, Mark? I have no idea. Did he win another blessing for me?
The number you have dialed
Think
has
of
not been
something.
recognized.
Is it dialing? That's what I want to hear.
Please try again.
No,
Because I don't have my headset on.
no, she said you made a mistake. Try again.
I made a mistake?
That's what she said.
I don't make mistakes. Let's try again.
We can put Eric in the green room. Do we have a green room here?
How about a blue room? Let's try again. Let's try calling him again. All right.
asking for it.
Oh, yeah. As we listen.
Tell him he's on the air.
He's not answering the phone.
He may not be home. I need
Your
more
call has been
coffee.
forwarded to an automatic voice message system. 7.
Well, he's
3,
not
2,
there,
5,
ladies
5,
and
2,
gentlemen.
4,
So we're going to
4,
have to
1 is
hang
not
up.
available.
Okay,
Tone,
ladies
please
and
record your
gentlemen.
message. When you have
We're
finished
gonna hang
recording,
up.
you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
We're going to hang up on this call because we don't want to leave a message. How do we get off this phone call? I know how to call, but I don't know how to hang up. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was a farce. So, let's go and try it again. We're going to call next. Oh, let's see. Who do we want to talk to? We're going to call. Who are we going to call? That is the question. Question of the day. Yes, it is. Okay, let's try this number. Okay. We're getting desperate. We're calling people. Let me try this one here. Let's give it a shot. Okay, here we go. Let's see what happens. Are we gonna get an answer?
This is Eric. Can I help you?
Eric! Actually, I
Yes.
dialed the wrong number, but that's okay. I redialed your number. I was trying to call Dan. You're on the air. Live.
Hey!
Hey!
We're about to go out for Valentine's Day. My wife and I are about to walk out the door for some Valentine's Day.
Good for you. Just want to call you, wish you and your wife happy Valentine's Day. Hope you
Feel like I'm
enjoy
on the
your
air.
evening.
Maggie gave us an oh my goodness over here.
Oh my goodness. Where are you guys going?
We're going to go to a local pub.
Oh, that's
Uh,
that's right. You were telling me
We may sing a
about
few
that. Your
songs
Friday night.
together And, yep, Friday night, exactly.
Your Friday night pub.
So,
All right.
Yeah, you got two of you there? You're not by yourself, are you?
No,
Who
no,
else
no. I
is there
got
with
Mark.
you?
He just walked off to make some coffee. This is the coffee club, you know.
Uh-huh.
And actually, we're getting
Yes, I have a
desperate.
full cup of coffee I'm leaving with.
We're not getting any callers tonight,
All right.
so I decided to start calling. Have a good night. We'll talk to you next time.
Feel free anytime.
All right.
Feel
Might be
free
easier
anytime
than
to
you try to
interrupt
call
me
us.
in the middle of kids and everything. It can only be exciting here.
That's it. All right.
Right. All right. I'll talk to you soon.
Good
You
night.
take care.
All right.
All
Bye-bye.
right. Bye.
All right, that was one of our occasional listeners who we just decided to give it a shot and see what happens. And he happened to answer the phone. Very nice of him. Now let's go try again for another number. All right, let's see who we got here. Okay, we are calling. We are calling another number. And let's see what happens. It would sound like he's on the phone with somebody else. And he's not going to get off for us.
He probably knows that you're broadcasting.
Yeah. Yeah, he's not picking up.
Your call
Okay.
has been forwarded to an automated voice
Okay.
messaging system.
All right, that ends that. While you were out serving, doing your services to the community here, which is us,
Yes.
I had a couple of moments to wish Eric and his wife a happy Valentine's Day.
left a message.
No, I spoke to them. They were just going out to a local pub to celebrate Valentine's Day, because now at 9:30 the kids are finally asleep, and they have somebody that's there that can watch or listen out for them in case they start any trouble. They're going out, and we just tried call Dan.
That's the essence of Valentine's Day. That's just what we were trying to stress. The fact that this is Valentine's Day, and what would you do with your significant other at a time like this?
I don't know about my significant other is, pardon the expression, snoring away right now, I'm sure.
I don't know about you, but I'm waiting for those two ladies to knock on the door again to say that somebody knocked out your mirror.
Maybe maybe I'll be lucky and they'll say it's your car this time.
Yeah, they wanted to hit yours, but they did mine by accident.
Yeah,
right?
right. Yeah, we one time were just ready to go to broadcast, and
Two very nice young ladies from another apartment, different apartments, mind you, came knocking on the door, and Felix thought that he struck it rich.
and they said, "Is that your car out there?" I said, "Yeah."
Felix started to grab his heart like Red Fox and said, "Elizabeth, I'm joining you. This is the big one."
Yeah, and instead of them saying anything nice, they said, "We just called the police because somebody took a baseball bat to your side view mirror."
Oh, yes, that was when the Long Island police failed to respond.
Yeah, it was cold.
You're still waiting. That was a very cold day. You're still waiting for the police report, aren't you?
Yeah, I stood outside for about a good 15 minutes, and then I said, "What am I crazy? They're not going to show up." And if they did, they drove by and didn't see anybody and kept.
Well,
going
actually,
by.
I think I did see the Nassau County Police car pull into Dunkin' Donuts. They had to get their coffee.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's when they use their sirens the most, when it's time for the coffee break.
Actually, I've noticed that about the Oceanside Fire Department as well. When there's a poker game,
Well, no. That's our volunteers. They don't get paid for playing poker. They lose their own money. Mark, you're going to have to talk because my mouth is full of something.
Oh, that's all right. People are used to your mouth being full of something. You never make much sense. Actually, we'd like to give you a special treat if you could figure out what Felix is saying right now. Go ahead. Start talking. He's talking about global warming. In fact, he's making so much sense. I've never heard him speak like this before. He actually made sense, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, that reminds me of, remember in the Frankenstein, the Mel Brooks movie?
Oh, Young Frankenstein.
Young Frankenstein?
Yeah.
And the first words that came out of her mouth was...
And then at the end, when Terry Garr says, "I know what you gave the monster, but what did he give you?" And then she starts singing, "Oh, sweet mystery of life."
I enjoy that movie. And
They're very funny. Now, walk this way. Igor. No, Igor. No, it's Igor.
Oh, Igor.
Which brain did you use? Abby normal? AB normal? Abby normal? No, abnormal.
Or
That he was really something, that Charlie Callis.
or what's the other one? Hump? What hump?
That's right. Or
If you notice,
you
the
are
movie-
going on a long journey. You are going to Rome, but I am in Rome. Do I lie?
And I remember, do you remember Blazing Saddles?
Oh, but
When
of
they had
course.
the old...
Yes.
over the nice fire, eating their beans.
Yes, I do.
And what was that guy's name? The football player that was in that movie.
Football player.
Yeah.
Harvey Korman was in it, I know. Cleavon Little was in it.
Yeah, the big guy. In the beginning, they had him. I'm trying to remember. They had him in jail, chained down.
No, I know Bubba Smith was in the Police Academy movies.
No, not Bubba Smith. This is a.
I don't remember.
This is an older. Think about it. Do you remember Blazing Saddles?
I do, but I don't remember a football player.
When they locked him up, and he was one of the brothers or something, or he belonged to this gang, and they locked him up, and they didn't have a jail built, so they put a red line there to keep him from going across.
Don't remember. My memory is failing me.
Yeah, stuff like this you should remember.
I know. These are classic moments. Speaking of classic moments, global warming, Felix.
Yes.
Anything more to say about that? Well, let's hear. You know, he says it so well, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, I couldn't possibly add anything to that.
Global warming. If it's the global warming, it's probably just... I mean, just think about how hot...
It's Mother Nature being nice to us.
Just think remember how hot the globe used to be at times.
Well, the globe was also very cold at one time, too.
Yes. Matter of fact, it froze for a little while.
Not according to Sarah Palin.
Or maybe it's going to fry us one time.
Actually, the best picture I saw so far on Facebook was Sarah Palin watching the Sochi Olympics from her balcony, from her in her house, because she can see Russia from her house, you know.
Yeah, and she doesn't need binoculars.
That's true.
Well, how far is Russia from her house?
Across the Bering Sea.
And who knows? Maybe she's got really good eyes.
I mean, you know, if you live in Key West, at the very end, you know, the zero marker, you know, you could see Fidel's brother.
Well, you can see Fidel himself smoking a cigar.
Well, but he turned power over to his brother. Power! Talking about power. Coffee Club.
Power to the people.
And who do we have singing that, Mansoor?
Yeah, we won't have anybody singing for a long time.
We don't get her? I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know what you're talking about. But
it's not doing anything.
It's not supposed to be doing yet. You have to wait. There is no way of speeding it up. So you just have to wait. It's not like some of the other stuff we've heard. You can't move this up. As far as I know.
Is it even working? Do you know?
Yeah, of course. You gotta wait a minute before it comes to the right part.
That's how long global warming takes. Just about a minute.
You know, I can't wait till I could just go outside and fry an egg. All right, here we go.
Yeah, well. Sing it, Patty.
That's Patti Smith singing People Have the Power. And that's what the coffee party says. People have the power.
And you control global warming.
Global warming.
Global warming, good.
Hey, listen, wouldn't you like it, Mark, if it was like 75 degrees right now?
It is someplace.
I mean, here in New York.
Give it some time. We'll have the seasons reversed. We'll be like in Australia.
Yeah.
Right now.
Well,
where it's summer.
With this cold weather, what I'm worried about is how hot it's going to be in the summer.
Well, when it gets to be 103, we'll be looking back and saying, "Oh, the winter of 2014."
Yeah, no. I like the winters of like 3-4 years ago. I enjoy weather that goes down to 40 degrees at night and 75 to 80 during the day.
Not even 75 to 80. I would say 70. A range of 40 to 70. I don't do that much swimming anymore.
Well, I like to go to the beach when it's warm, like in the Caribbean and the water is warm.
Yeah, but you're talking location.
You're talking money.
Well, that goes without saying.
Okay, we're going to try Dan again, drive him crazy.
Did you call him?
Yeah, but he was on the phone with somebody else.
Oh, don't do that. He'll never forgive you. He'll boycott the show.
He's still talking to somebody. I don't know, that man talks a lot.
He certainly talks a lot to us.
We just cut ourselves off.
Says we're on the air.
We're on the air.
We're back. Hang up. Come on, don't be a pest.
Okay.
Your call has been forwarded to an automated voice messaging system.
Dan, Mom.
All right, so...
I have to say, we've been dragging this out for almost an hour. I think, in all honesty, nobody's going to call. So why don't we just wrap it up?
Wrap it up. Why don't we stop all this pain and struggle?
This is like a slow death.
Yeah.
This is like suffering from global warming.
Global warming. Good for you. Good for me. All right, ladies and gentlemen.
We hope that you weren't listening and that you had a great Valentine's Day with that special somebody. And time for me to feed the dogs.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. I believe it's time for Mark to feed the dogs, and it's time for us to say good night. Thank you for listening, and good night.